I really believe that people are offended when Black women get emotional because they're not used to seeing Black women owning their full humanity, I should say. Because again, we were brought here as things, as products, as belongings, right? Like we were brought here to make the lives of white people better. And so when Black people show any emotion, right, that we weren't allowed to show back in the day, people are shocked, people are offended. And I really think it has to do with enslavement, right? Like, oh, you're so emotional. Yeah, everyone is emotional. Everyone who is a human has emotions, and if you don't, you get help for that, right? Like it is not healthy, I should say. It is not healthy for you not to be in touch with your emotions. And I really do believe that people don't want us in tune with our emotions or in touch with our emotions because then we would know, oh, this person is hurting me, right? Or, oh, that hurts. Or this makes me angry. Or this confuses me. This is heartbreaking, whatever, insert whatever emotion here, right? Even our joy, even our joy is offensive to the people that hate us. You know what I'm saying? And so, like, I am not impacted when people call me emotional. I think that's a silly rebuttal. I think that's a silly thing to say to people. Yeah, I'm emotional because I'm a human being. Like, welcome, right? Like, welcome to the world where humans have emotions, right? And welcome to 2026 where I don't have to hide my emotions from you to make you feel comfortable or safe. And this country wants me to be so ashamed, especially as a Black woman. This country wants me to be so ashamed of my anger, but I love my anger. My anger, my rage is mine. She is my protector. She shows me when somebody is doing me dirty, right? Like, I'm going to harken back to Audre Lorde, right? The uses of anger. The uses of anger. There are so many beautiful uses for anger. And I'm going to share the video that I did on this before. Um, Again, because you cannot shame me for having emotions. You cannot shame like me. I'm not ashamed of being angry. I'm not ashamed of being emotional. I'm not ashamed of feeling. I am not ashamed of being sensitive, right? Like my sensitivities have protected me. My sensitivities have guided me. My sensitivities have kept me safe. My sensitivities have helped me help other people, right? We're living in this world where callousness and cruelty is celebrated and it's currency, right? Like the more cruel you are, the wealthier you probably are, the more compromised you are. Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest, right? These billionaires, they had to be corrupt. They had to be callous. They had to be uncaring to acquire billions of dollars. Why? Because in order to acquire that amount of money, let's talk about somebody who makes money from clothes, right? Things that are made in sweatshops where people are underpaid and people are breathing in toxic materials and children are working and they're not given windows and ventilation and free time and paid time off and healthcare and all this other stuff. That's how these billionaires acquire $1 billion. So in order to acquire that money and to be cool with it, you have to be a different kind of level of inhumane. Like you have traded in your humanity. You have traded in your bravery. Because it takes bravery to feel. Let's be honest. It takes bravery to feel. It takes bravery to admit that hurt me. It takes bravery to admit, yeah, I want to be wealthy, but I don't want to hurt anybody, right? It takes bravery to do that. And so you're going to look to me, and that's all this country does, right? It looks to you like you're the problem for noticing their problem, right? Like it looks to you as the issue because you can see that people ain't right, right? This is why they want us to put down our emotions and our sensitivities because we know better. Because our sensitivities teach us and tell us that ain't right. Something is wrong, right? Our anger will be fuel for revolution. That's why they don't want us emotional. Yes, I am an emotional woman. Yes. And I feel no shame about that. I am fully human. I have access to my emotions, and that's a gift. And I have the ability and the privilege of being able to express those emotions, right? That my ancestors were not allowed to express. So if you think I'm going to silence myself, I'm not. And the truth of the matter is, a lot of people poke and prod at your emotions because uh, they want to see you emotionally react. And people think that if you emotionally react, that somehow you have lost or something, that somehow you have, I don't know, You've given them what they wanted. And so, like that same thing, don't let them see you sweat because they want you to see you sweat. I want you to see me sweat. I want you to see me cry. I want you to see me rage, because then you will know not to mess with me. And then you will know that I am human. And also, we have to stop internalizing the shame, right? It is shameful. It is despicable to want to start wrath in somebody because you get a high from seeing them angry. We need to look at what's really evil here. Me feeling my feelings is not evil. Me feeling my feelings is for the benefit of myself and everybody else around me. Everybody else around me. I think about men specifically, and how this whole conversation is about, like, oh, men are protectors and whatever and blah blah blah. A lot of men are not protectors. Like, men are not protectors. Like, in mass, y'all, like, men are not protectors. Like, let's be serious, right? Because let's be clear, a lot of men don't even know what is dangerous. A lot of men don't have access to their emotions because patriarchy tells them that having access to their emotions is somehow beneath them or less masculine or whatever the heck, right? They can't even see trouble coming because they're not sensitive, because they have been taught that sensitivity is weakness, right? So how can you protect anybody when you can't even recognize trouble and harm coming from a mile away? Because I am so sensitive, I can see harm a mile away. I can see harm years in advance, right? Like, I can see it. I can feel it. You can lie to me and tell me that everything's fine, but I can feel that everything's not fine, right? So, like, patriarchy even has men messed up where it's like men come to you, oh, women are so emotional, and the worst thing that a man can be is a woman, right? The worst thing a man can be is feminine, using air quotes. The worst thing a man can be is emotional. Why? Because they hate women. That's it. It's the hatred of women, right? And so, like, if you react or respond in a way that men think women react and respond, right, then you're cast off. Then you're cut off as a man. Like, oh, you can't hang with us. He's too emotional. He's too soft. Whatever whatever word they use, like, or slur that they use, right? But sensitivity is a strength. And what I'm realizing too, even along with the patriarchy, nobody hates men more than men. Because why would a man teach you not to be in touch with something that is helpful to you? Why would another man tell a man that feeling is somehow beneath him? He's trying to turn you into a monster. He's trying to turn you into what he is, barbaric. Barbaric. And you trade in your humanity, you trade in your sensitivities for this belonging to this club of these evil, violent, destructive, insecure, unaccomplished. And I don't mean unaccomplished like, stars or whatever. I mean in their own lives, right? Like, in your own life. So you have to make other people feel small. Because you are not brave enough to feel, you have to convince everyone else around you not to feel, so that you're not seen for the actual weakness that you carry. Right? It's all a mind game. My entire life, I was taught that I was emotional and sensitive, and it was said to me like it was a bad thing, because this world is evil. This world will attack people that they find sensitive. This world throws people who are sensitive away, because sensitive people know better. Sensitive people have a gift. That's the truth. People who are sensitive see you, and you don't want to be seen, right? People who are sensitive see what's really going on behind what you say is going on, and you don't want what's going on to be seen. So then you make fun of the person who is sensitive. You make them feel crazy for knowing what they feel and what they know. Like, you make them feel broken for being human, when it is beautiful. It is beautiful to feel. It is heavy sometimes to feel, but it is also beautiful. All that callousness is trying to protect them from pain. The truth of the matter is, you're pretending you don't feel so that people don't hurt you. But the truth of the matter is, beyond that, is that you do feel, and you do feel hurt. And the reason why you want to put on this armor is because you are tender, because you are soft, because you are sensitive. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's also nothing wrong with wanting to protect the parts of you that are soft and nougaty. You know what I mean? There's nothing wrong with protecting those parts that are fleshy, because everybody does not deserve access to those parts. I'm learning that. Everybody does not deserve access to your soft spots. You know what I mean? I'm thinking about, like, when babies are born, and you know how in their heads they have soft spots. You're not supposed to touch it. You're not supposed to, and again, I don't have children, so bear with me. You're not supposed to touch it. You're not supposed to push into it. It's a soft spot, right? And after a while, that soft spot will fuse, right? As the baby grows, the head grows and all this other stuff, right? The skull will fuse together, right? And a lot of us have those parts in ourselves, but because we're not willing to really be like, oh, I am sensitive, I am soft in these parts, right? Or this, I am sensitive to this. We just put armor over our whole selves, never making friends or companions, never making a connection, a real connection, never making a real connection with our sensitivities. And so we start to despise them. And instead of protecting them, we ignore them. We ignore them. We don't even want to acknowledge that they are there because we feel like if we acknowledge that they are there, then that makes us weak. How can you protect something that you won't even acknowledge is there? How can you really protect yourself? How can you protect other people from what you don't even make friends with? You're not even in community with yourself. You have been taught to hate yourself. And then because they taught you to hate yourself, any sign or sense of humanity is embarrassing to you. It is shameful to you to see someone cry because their heart is broken. It is embarrassing to you to witness somebody being fully vulnerable and fully themselves and loving and embracing themselves, so that you have to introduce insecurity where there was none. Children cry, right? And then they're taught, we don't cry, we don't do that. And children don't understand why I can't cry because this hurts me. It's the same thing. You don't grow out of that. You don't grow out of that. You still feel when you fall on your knees. I'm pretty sure you're like, ouch, right? Like if you stub your toe, if you whatever. But no, like society teaches you, oh, my toe's not stubbed. Whole time your toe can be broken. And because you are unwilling to go to the doctor because you see that as weak, admitting pain is weak, you won't get fixed. And you'll be walking with a limp your whole life when you could have just went to the doctor. Same with our emotions. Our emotions, our anger, our pain, our frustration, all the feelings, our shame even communicates things to ourselves. We are in constant communication with ourselves, with our heart, with our body, with our minds. And when you cut off that conversation, you cut off yourself. I am not nonchalant. I am not unfeeling. I am not, what is the word I'm looking for? I am not hard. Like I take the measures needed to protect my soft parts, but I am not a hard person. And because I am not a hard person, because I know that about myself, I cannot be around hard people. They hurt me. It hurts. It hurts. I want to be around people that I don't have to protect myself from, right? I want to be in environments where I can be my full self, where it doesn't feel like I'm holding myself together and exhausting myself, right? But how will I ever know what those environments are if I can't even admit that I am emotional, that I am sensitive? That I am sensitive, and I have no interest in giving up my sensitivity for your comfort. I have no interest in giving up my emotions for your belonging, because I will never belong. If I have to cut off myself to belong to you, right, or to belong in your group or whatever, I don't belong. It's an avatar of me. It's a fake version of who I am that you think you're in relationship with, that you're not. You don't even get to see my heart. You don't get access to my heart because it's a soft place if I don't feel safe around you, right? And someone telling me that me being emotional is wrong or me being sensitive is weak, that is showing me someone who is insecure themselves and someone who has not created a safe space for them, so they cannot be a safe space for me. They cannot give me what they can't give themselves. Does that make sense? If they're not safe for them, how are they going to be safe for me? Someone who is deeply feeling and deeply empathetic and deeply understanding and deeply sensitive and deeply emotional. All the things that I find beautiful. I find all parts of myself beautiful, and you will not shame me into uninviting parts of myself to belong to you or to belong in your group. You won't. And I really want people to know, the more that you don't care, not even don't care, because I don't want to pretend that I don't care about belonging. I do, right? But I also understand the cost, and that cost will have me hating myself. And that's never worth it. If it's going to end up with, if me belonging somewhere or to a group or whatever is going to result in me hating myself, questioning my worth and my value, questioning whether or not I'm crazy or not, right? Questioning whether or not if these people knew who I really was, would they love me? I can't be around them people. And that's just me, because I'm not about to torment myself for the rest of my days to be in your circle. If you can't see, love, appreciate, value me for who I am, even with all my emotions, I'm the girl that cries at commercials, okay? I will cry at a sunset. out of beauty, right? I will cry because someone has passed. I will cry because I'm sorrowful, I'm hopeful, I'm joyful. I am a freely expressed human being, and you cannot shame me for that. And the thing is, I understand why even my elders used to shame me. Oh, stop being so sensitive. You always crying, right? Like, stop being, girl, stop letting, no, I understand why they did, because they love me. I understand why my elders did that to me, because they love me and they know the world is mean. They know the world is hard, and they know the world does not look kindly on emotional, sensitive Black girls. I know that the world seeks to devour sensitive Black girls. Ooh. And so as a child, I carried the weight of feeling my emotions but having nowhere for them to go. So I wrote. I wrote because I didn't feel like it was safe for me to feel my feelings, nor was it safe for me really to express them, because I was giving my emotions and my feelings to people who didn't even want to feel their feelings, right? Who were taught, because this was their experience, that being hard and tough and not showing any sense of, using air quotes, weakness was a strategy for survival. And I honor that. I honor that, and I weep and I grieve for that too, because even though my family may not be emotionally expressive, I know my family is sensitive, because how can I be sensitive? I've witnessed my family shrink and swallow their pain and their feelings. I've witnessed my people pretend that they're not hurt because they don't feel safe enough to express that I am hurt. I've seen it. People that I love pretend that they don't feel because it is not safe for them to feel. And so when I feel like almost I have generations worth of sensitivity that was not ever able to really be tapped into or expressed. So it makes sense why I am so emotional. I am feeling for even my ancestors. I am expressing even for my ancestors, for those who could not express because they had to survive. And me, with all my privilege, me with all my security, me with all my knowledge and understanding, and maybe understanding they didn't have back then. I am safe. I am safe for me. I am safe. Like, my being is safe. My emotions are safe here. Every emotion is safe here. And so I would hope that my ancestors feel safe with me as well. You know what I mean? So anyway, I understand the need. I understand why we don't let them see you sweat. I get that, right? Because back in the day, if you were weak, you could be murdered. If you were weak, you could be thrown away. If you were weak, you could be sold. If you were weak, my God, if you were weak, you could be destroyed because you weren't worth it or worthy to them. Oh, that hurts so bad. Even thinking that and saying that out loud. That if you were seen as emotional or sensitive, that it could cost you your very life. It could cost you your friends and your family, your community, your belonging. There was no safety to express emotions, right? And so I know that I have to heal that. I have to make friends with my sensitivities. I have to, because I know who I come from, I have to heal. There were so many of my ancestors who passed away from heart attacks, from heart disease. Excuse me. Sorry, I had to get myself together. But there were so many people in my lineage who passed before me from heart disease or heart attack, strokes, these kinds of things, just heartbreak, right? At young ages. And I imagine a big part of that is because you have to be so strong all the time. You have to be so rigid and so hard, and so you have to swallow so much pain. You have to swallow so much suffering. They had to swallow so much suffering because nobody cared, because nobody would come if you cried. Nobody cared. And so I know what I am predisposed to, right? Like, I know what is in this genetic code, this body that I carry. And so my very survival depends on my expression of my emotions. My very survival, right, depends on my making friends with my sensitivity. My very survival means becoming good in my opinion, good at expressing, ouch, that hurts actually. I actually don't want any more of that. Thank you. It means me being honest about the fact that I hate this so I can leave, right? So I can try something different. How can you do something different if you won't even admit that you hate this? if you're too afraid to admit that you hate this, if you're afraid of being perceived as weak for quitting something that is killing you, how can you ever leave? How can you ever become free if you can't even admit that being in bondage hurts? How can you ever be of use to your community if you can't even know what your community needs because you have cut off those parts of you that they all feel? They all angry. They all upset. And this society has taught you that it's sinful to be angry, that it is sinful to be sad, that if you're sad then God has failed you somehow. And like, what about righteous anger? What about how do we bring on the change if we are not angry? And the problem I find in this country, people are not angry enough. People are too comfortable with the suffering of them for them that they suffer, that their own, excuse me, people are too comfortable with their own suffering, but also the suffering of others. We have normalized that. It is not normal. It is not normal for people to suffer and us not want to fix it. It is not normal for us to see someone who is treated unfairly or unjustly and us not be enraged. That is not normal. You are a monster if you don't feel that. You are a monster. They are making you into a monster. I don't know how else to say that. There's no soft way to say that. They are ripping your humanity away from you. They are divorcing you from the tools that you were brought here with to help you help yourself, but other people. How? And especially for my artists, how you gonna create art that liberates, that helps people feel, that resonates, if you don't feel? What are you even making? What even are we doing? What is the point? And this is all emotion, right? This is pain, this is joy, this is all of that. Because I promise you, if you're shielding yourself from pain, and I know like there is no there's no shortcut to this, but it's true. If you're shielding yourself off from the pain, the vulnerability, right, of pain, like the potential of pain, you're also cutting yourself off from the potential of joy. You're also cutting yourself off from the potential of belonging, of communing and community, right? Because I recognize folks who are not safe with themselves because I know they're not safe for me either. And we can't be in community like that. Right? I can't show you those parts of myself because you have not made friends with those parts of yourself, right? Like you can't give me what you have not given yourself. And so, yes, that cuts you off from community or the potential of community that you could have by being honestly and fully and bravely yourself. So, yes, I am a woman. Yes, I am a Black woman. Yes, I do be angry. Yes, I am emotional. Yes, I am sensitive. And there is no sin in that. I am not ashamed of any of that. You telling me that I'm emotional is like telling me that the sky is blue. Okay. You telling me that I am angry is like telling me that the water is wet. Okay. Right? Like you telling me like that's how normalized I had to do the work myself because yeah, I had to make myself a safe space because nobody was giving me that safe space, right? Like I had to first say to myself in my notebook, it's okay to feel this. It's okay to be angry. It took years because indoctrination will have you out here being at war with yourself for feeling feelings that you are allowed to feel, that you should be feeling, that you should be entitled to. If somebody slaps you across the face, you have a right to be angry. Why wouldn't you? Why? And if somebody slaps you across the face, whether figuratively or literally, and somebody denies you the right to be angry, they are denying you the right to be human. They are telling you that they do not see you as human. And that is how we start to dehumanize ourselves and everyone else that we're around. When we deny people their right to feel their feelings or to be angry or upset or depressed, because I look around, y'all, there's a lot to be angry and depressed about. Look around when you're telling people, oh, just cheer up. When you're telling people that they don't have a right to sadness, right? And also I want to get into this too. I am not, let me make this clear. I am not a drug rehab counselor, none of that, right? When people look down on people who have vices, I'm okay. I understand that we have been taught that drugs are wrong, that chemical dependency is wrong, excuse me, right? Like I know that we have been taught that. I don't look down on anybody who uses. I don't, because surviving this and the denying people their right to humanity is impossible, right? Like if I was unhoused on the street, for example, people are like, oh yeah, people on the street are using drugs. Yeah, duh. What the hell? Are y'all okay? Are y'all okay? This person doesn't have a house to live in. This person doesn't even have food, shelter, and y'all treat them like shit. Let's start there. You treat them like shit, right? But they're not allowed to medicate themselves from this hell that y'all put them in, by the way. They're not allowed to feel joy, to have dopamine during their day. Right? This all of this is linked together, y'all. Like we what should I say? We demonize the survival tactics of people. We demonize the vices of folks, but not the things that put them in this place in the first place. We don't demonize that the fact that poverty is manufactured and it's not real. We don't demonize the fact that some people are allowed to live in a home with heat and running water and clean clothes and food, but some people are denied that right? You're more angry at a person using drugs than a person surviving what you would not survive. You're not on the street. Mind your business. You're not living in a tent, right? In a tent city. Mind your business. Mind your business. However people choose to survive what they were never supposed to survive, because they want them gone, y'all. They want them dead. Let's be clear. The way that they treat poor folks in this country, they want poor folks dead. That is the entire point. You are begging people who are monsters to see you as human. Tap into your emotions and your sensitivities. They will teach you they do not care about you. They don't. And then you got the nerve to be looking down on somebody else because you need to feel bigger than somebody else. Shut your mouth. Now I'm getting angry. Now I'm getting upset because I've seen too much judgment, not enough change. And the reason why you won't change is because you're telling people just to get over it, just to move forward, because that's what you have done, but you have not done that. You are pretending that you're not hurt. You're pretending that you're not angry because you don't want to be called an angry Black woman. You're pretending not to be brokenhearted, right? And from personal experience in the church, people telling me that the reason why I'm depressed is because my relationship with God is not close enough. That's why I didn't tell people I was depressed. That's why I was harming myself and drinking myself silly, because something was wrong with me for being sad about the destruction of the world, about capitalism, about all this stuff. And I had nowhere for it to go because people were telling me that I was wrong for witnessing the destruction of people and feeling pain about it, feeling feeling hurt for them, for myself. It is not easy being a sensitive girl in this callous world. It's not easy being a deeply emotional, a deeply present person. And I understand why people use, because to be present and to be fully aware of what's happening and to fully feel it without the resources to feel it, without anyone feeding you, right? It takes calories. Like, y'all are not serious. And it pains me because I know how good it could be. I know how good we could be to each other. And over silliness, over nothing, we are debating about whether it's right to care for people. I don't understand the world I live in. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't understand how you can watch someone suffering and cheerily eat. I don't understand that. I don't understand how you can walk around this earth sober and in your right mind, right? And be okay with what's happening. And I really do think that the world criticizes and demonizes, villainizes. That's what I'm looking for. They villainize people who are feeling and emotional because it is good for empire that they do that. It is good for empire that you don't feel your feelings, that you go along with the program, that you buy stuff instead of actually interrogate your feelings, that you buy success, that you get on their what do you call it? Hamster wheel of success, chasing money. It is better that you do that for them than feel your feelings. Feeling your feelings is dangerous to them. Owning your feelings is dangerous to them. It is literally resistance in a world that is telling you to be callous and cold and unfeeling and hateful, right? That is only for empire. That's not for you. It's not for your community. It's not for anything good. It is for their pockets to be lined. Why do they want us feeling bad? Why do they want us feeling insecure? So we buy more stuff. So we go along with their program. Why do they want us to hate ourselves? So that we want to be them. And so that we chase what they value. So that we want to be approved of by them. Even if it means selling out our own communities. Even if it means throwing women, children, the elderly, the earth under the bus. Right? That's why they don't want you to be a feeling person. They don't want you human. They never saw you as human. You were not brought here to be human. That's why they mad that you mad. That's why they mad that you crying. That's why they mad that you got feelings. Because they never saw you having feelings. And their response to your anger or your rage or whatever really shows, it really is a mirror to them. right? Like that is a mirror to their soul. They never saw you as human. If someone is upset that you're upset, ask why they are denying you your humanity. Again, some stuff is because the elders, the ancestors we came from, it wasn't safe for them. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about people who you're living with, your peers. Okay. The people that you're living with today, if they're calling you emotional, ask why. How does this benefit them to call me emotional? How does it benefit a man to call a woman emotional, right? Because it allows them to align with patriarchy, to say, hey, men, look, I put down another woman, so I belong to you. That's why I always say men who are in patriarchy, they're pick me's. They want men to like them. Like, that's all. Hey, I'm not soft. I'm not angry. I'm not sad, even though you just called me out my name, even though you just punched me in my face, even though that you just harmed my body. And men harm each other's bodies all the time for fun and sport. And y'all be lying about not being mad. And I see this even as kids, right? When you know, y'all know when the kids be wilding out and like and the parents be like, all right, don't come crying, right? It's fun till it's not fun. Don't come crying to me because I already told you this is dangerous. And what happens? Someone gets upset. It's the same thing. And a lot of folks want to poke and prod and make people upset, like I said before, because it is they make fun of that. They want to make fun of you, right? Again, ask why someone is denying your right to your emotions. Is denying you of your right to your emotions. Are they trying to manipulate you? Why would they not want you to be emotionally intelligent? Are we okay? Like, what benefit is there for you not to be in tune with your emotions? What benefit is that? What benefit is that? It will have you swallowing rage, getting sick, dying of heart disease and heart attacks. Because you can't, it has to be processed. It has to be processed, right? Now on top of that, right, factor in capitalism, patriarchy, racial abuse, right? Like racial terror, all that other stuff that they were living, poverty, all these things that they were living under, right, were factors in for their early passing. But also, like, it starts emotionally too for us. For us. How can we better honor our ancestors who may not have been able to feel as deeply as we want to feel? Because what some people say, and I've heard this and I felt this before, I don't want to cry because I feel like I'll never stop crying. Especially like, ooh, even now when I say that, it makes me cry. Because I know what that feels like. You're holding back the tears like a dam, right? Like you're holding back the tears. You're shutting your eyes closed. You don't want to feel anything because if I start crying, if I acknowledge the pain, I fear it'll be too much. I fear it'll take me under. I fear it'll kill me. I fear that I won't stop crying, right? But think about that. When we cry, right, we release things. Chemicals are released through our tears, y'all. And when you are not crying those tears of pain, right, you are holding in those toxins in your body. You're holding in those chemicals in your body. Your body is smart. Your body wants to release. Your body wants to relieve you of that pain. And when they tell you not to access your tears, they're trying to kill you. They're trying to kill you. They're trying to kill your spirit. They're trying to kill your hope. They're trying to kill all of us slowly by making ourselves poison ourselves. The medicine, the bitterness that we're supposed to be saying, writing, creating, sharing with other people, right? The wisdom that is found in that bitterness, we can't even get to it because we're swallowing it. It has to be expressed. It has to be released for us to be well, individually, but also communally. We have to be safe spaces for ourselves first and for our neighbor. We have to even just affirm, yeah, girl, that's messed up. That's crazy. Like, because what is happening in this world is crazy. And they're gaslighting you into believing that you're crazy for feeling angry, that you're crazy for feeling sorrow and sadness. And that only helps them because it helps them do their bidding, right? Because the longer that we go without calling a thing, shout out to Ayanla Van Zandt, right? Let's call a thing, beloved, right? The longer you go without calling a thing, the further they're able to reach, the more damage they're able to do without anybody saying anything about it. That's why this world works so hard to shut down, to silence, to discredit Black women. Black women, we are, like I said in my last video, I'm a Black woman, right? I have the privilege of not being able to, assimilate into this culture. For whatever reason, I just can't do it. And it has served me well, right? But also, it's a privilege to be a Black woman because I automatically disqualify. Patriarchy is about white men, right? I am a Black woman. I am the opposite. I am the opposite, right, of what is celebrated here. So I have the privilege of not having to live up to their standards because it's not real anyway. It's fake. It's fake. I've never been deluded enough to believe that America loves me. I've never, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I've never had that delusion. I've never had that experience. So I'm able, on almost in a way, I'm able to be even more clear because I don't give any credence to that system. I just don't. Okay, like the system that destroys, the system that starves, the system that makes poor. I don't understand. The system that wastes resources. Are we okay? Why would I ever want to belong to that? Why would I ever care about those people not liking me? These are things that I had to say about myself, say to myself, excuse me, because my entire life people tried to make me care, and I do care. This is the thing: I care about people. I do care about what they feel about me. But these are people that I care about, right? But the world tried to make me care about what white men think about me. I ain't never cared, and I never had to. Shout out to PG County. I never had to care about what no white man thought about me. I was raised around black people. Okay. So the black excellence was, the thing. And now that I'm older, I can see, oh, these are remnants of white supremacy, white supremacy culture. I get it. Like, or oppression. Right. But even when I was younger, my role models, my teachers, my peers, my mom's friends, my father's friends, their coworkers, our neighbors, they were all black. They were all black. So I don't think that I really ever had an opportunity to be like, oh yeah, I must be what the white man says I must be, right? That's never been a thing. And so I really do believe that's why this country hates black women so much. So much because we speak the truth. We can see the thing for what it really is. We come from women who were enslaved, and their children were enslaved as well. Their babies, right? Anything, when men could buy their freedom, black men could buy their freedom, right? Black women were enslaved forever, and her children enslaved. And if she had daughters, her daughters, right? Whatever came from her womb belonged to the enslaver of her, belonged to the human trafficker, right? Let's really belong to the human trafficker. And so, like, this war on black women's bodies, right? The use of, like, people in the OBGYN, right? The OBGYN sector experimenting on black bodies without anesthesia, without, like, us nursing their white babies with our own breasts, right? There is power there. Like there is a power there that they're unwilling to really acknowledge with their voice, right? But they have acknowledged it with their means of control. Somebody's dog was barking. With their means of control, right? And I'm not saying that stuff was good. Obviously not. But what I'm saying is they know that we are powerful. They know that there is strength in our emotions and our sensitivities. They know. But they have made us hate ourselves. For what? For what? For their benefit. So all this stuff is linked, y'all. Like the fear of emotionalism, the fear of being sensitive or being caught being sensitive or being caught caring about how people treat you. They want you to not care. They want you to find its strength. Okay. They want you to imagine strength being someone calling you out your name to your face and you sitting there like, oh, it doesn't bother me, whatever. That's not strength. That is a lie. That is not strength. That is giving them permission. I wish somebody would punch somebody in their face. Sometimes violence is the answer. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't really have these, like, hard and quick rules about things. Oh, we can't be violent. Yes, we can. Like, I'm whatever. There's a thought, like, violence is the answer. If somebody is beating my ass, violence is the answer. Okay? If somebody is harming me, violence is the answer. If somebody broke into my home and was trying to hurt me, violence is going to be the answer. I'm going to call 911. I'm going to do all the things, right? Like, I'm going to be praying, all that stuff. And violence is going to be the answer. And yes, that is from my rage. That is from my fear. That is from my sorrow, all that. And all those things work together to protect me. Because shout out to Got to Be Oshun, because I am worthy of protection. And I'll speak from personal experience, but I've been in classes with Got to Be Oshun, and they have been life-changing. And one thing that she said in one of her recent classes was that a lot of us don't feel like we were worthy of protection or worthy of protecting. And I know that's been the case for me. Growing up Christian, you're not taught that you're worthy of protection, right? You're taught, oh yeah, you are worthy enough to die for, but you're not worthy enough for protection. How do I know? If somebody slaps you, turn the other cheek. No, absolutely not. What? Like, that's not love. That is someone telling you to be complicit with your own suffering, complicit with your own oppression, right? Like, so there's been a lot of, or if you're angry, oh, don't be angry. Like, almost like being angry is the sin. Like, when they say be angry and sin not, usually what they're saying is like, don't be angry. I can be angry as I want to be. And I don't have to respect someone who doesn't respect me. That's crazy. That doesn't make sense. I'm giving them something they don't deserve, right? And I'm teaching myself that I am worthy of being disrespected. I am teaching myself that I am worthy of being of give I that it is okay for people to mistreat me as long as I treat them well. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because for them, violence is always the answer. Uprooting trees to build homes, that's violence. Putting a highway through a neighborhood of black folks and poor people, that's violence. Going to other people's countries and taking things from them, that's violence. Taking land that does not belong to them and killing and murdering all those people, that's violence. That's literally violence. Creating a system where if you don't have enough money, if you don't have enough coins, then you are going to be denied services like healthcare and feeding your body and drinking water. That is evil. That is evil. And we are okay with it because we are taught to be okay with it. But something in you, I promise you, if you are a human being, something in you is like, that's not right. That ain't right. That ain't right. Just because you have more made up currency than I do, and made up, I'm saying made up on purpose because it's not real. Just because you have made up currency that is usually acquired through harming other people, I don't deserve to have a house to live in, but you do. Forget how you made the money. Forget how many people you screwed over. Just because you have it, you're more worthy and more sacred than me? Absolutely not. I don't believe that. And they will call me crazy for saying that. But my sensitivities, my emotions, they have taught me. They have led me. They have guided me. I know something is wrong or being done wrong to someone because I wouldn't want that done to me, right? Like, I don't need your emotions are important. They are important. They are important. They are smart. Okay. Your emotions are not dumb. And I really feel like this world is trying to teach us or trying to convince us that our emotions are somehow like backwards or barbaric, right? That like we must override our emotion, that we must override our emotions. That's not a thing. That's not a thing. Even you wanting to override your emotions is emotional. You wanting to be perceived as strong is emotional. You wanting to be, because you want to be protected, right? That is an emotional decision to pretend that you're not hurt when you are. That's emotional. Or, you're afraid, you stub your toe, you're afraid to go to the doctor because you're afraid it might be broken. Fear is an emotion. Fear is stopping you from going to the doctor to be serviced. Fear is stopping you from saying, hey, when you say that to me, that hurts my feelings. Fear, that's an emotion. You being afraid of being perceived as sensitive or emotional, that's literally emotional. And I'm trying to reflect back to you, there is nothing wrong with your emotions. How you move through them matters, right? How you express them matters. How you get what you need matters. But you feeling is beautiful. It is important. It is sacred. It is holy. You are divine. And every time they try to shame you for feeling, they're trying to take your divinity away. They're trying to make you into a machine. They're trying to craft you and mold you into who they want you to be for their empire, for their getting more money or more land, or just to convince you to be quiet while they do atrocious things, right? They try to convince you that feeling is shameful so that you don't stand up and say, "Hey, don't do that. That's not right." Right? So they can freely do their raping and pillaging. They want you to be complicit. That's the only reason why they don't want you to feel your feelings. Okay? So, yes, it is not weak. It is not less than. It is not subhuman or devolved or barbaric to be emotional. It is it's one of the bravest things that you can do is to feel. Feeling is scary, okay? Feeling is complicated, it's messy, it's hard. And making friends with your feelings and giving language for them and getting to the depth of them, because sometimes what you feel, oh, I'm angry about this thing. When you really go to the heart of it, it's hurt. It's heartbreak. It's fear, right? It's protection. I'm trying to think of things I've been angry about. I'm gonna go romance. It is it I'm just because this is the first thing that came to mind, because this is something that men specifically made me feel crazy about. I am not crazy for believing that you said that you love me, like me, whatever, right? And then when your actions don't line up with that, now I'm called a crazy bitch, right? Because, and yes, and I'm saying that specifically, because they're saying that to be disrespectful. Now I'm crazy because I'm calling you out on your lies. What? Like, now I'm crazy for being rightly upset because you cheated on me. Now I'm crazy right? Because you led me on to believe something was true, which is deception, which is not, right? They have you feeling crazy because you can recognize when somebody is playing your face. Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is? Because they don't want to feel shame, because they don't want to feel accountable for the evil they did. So they're going to saddle the weight with you for being upset with what they did and not really sit with the fact that it happened in the first place, that they lied to you. Because they don't want to actually deal with the consequences. They don't actually want to get better. They want to move forward without actually being the bad guy, using air quotes. But they are the bad guy. Whether I say something or didn't say something, you still are the bad guy, but they think they get away scot-free because you didn't say nothing. No, like that's basically what empire is trying to do to you, right? So yes, romance or whatever on a small scale, patriarchy, whatever. Let's zoom out. It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Yeah, I'm underpaying you, but you shouldn't be an angry black woman. Yeah, I'm calling you monkeys and all this other stuff, but yeah, you shouldn't be angry. Yeah, like your likeness and your contributions culturally is being taken from you and used for gain or whatever, even though they hate the bodies that it came from, the minds that it came from, even though you called us stupid and backwards, right, and animalistic. Yeah, but don't be angry. What? Yeah, we hung you from trees, and yeah, we enslaved you for 200 plus years, and yeah, we were gonna give you land, but then we decided not to do that anymore. Yeah, again, we denied you right to have good resources like books, and to have safe places for your children to play, and have fresh ground that is safe so you can grow your own food. And yeah, we poisoned you, and yeah, we operated on your body without anesthesia. Yeah, we used you in experiments like the Tuskegee airman experiment, like this. Excuse me, I said airman. The Tuskegee experiment. Think about the airmen, but yes, the Tuskegee experiment. Yeah, we used the orange stuff in Vietnam, and people got sick and died. But whatever, Don't be mad. But don't be mad. Being mad is unsightly. Being mad is wrong. Do you see how evil these people are? That's who's telling you not to feel your emotions. Those are because it allows them. It guarantees them, right? Access. It allows them to continue to hurt you because you don't make a noise, you don't make a fuss. Shout out to Stephanie Perry. In one of her lives, she was talking about women drowning and how the instructor was telling them on some excursion that some people drown because they're afraid of being heard screaming. Right? That's literally the condition of this country. We are so afraid of being seen screaming. We're so afraid of being seen crying out for help and decrying something or saying like, "Oh, this is not right." Right? We're so afraid of being seen saying ouch, or saying that, yeah, that impacts me, that hurts my feelings, I'd rather you not do that. Because we shame people who are sensitive, because empire likes that. We shame people who are very in tune with their emotions, who know who they are, who know right from wrong. We even shame children for telling the truth. We shame children. That's how I learned that y'all don't really like the truth. All my life I was taught, be honest, tell the truth. And when I did as a kid, I was shamed for it. Which one is it? You want people honest, or you want people to make you comfortable, right? Same thing. So yes, I am emotional. I am sensitive. I am all those things. Okay. And you're not going to shame me about that. You're not going to shame me about whining and crying. You're not going to shame me about like, oh, being a perpetual victim. You're not going to all those tactics don't work here. Because it's just regurgitated. Those are not your independent thoughts. That's what somebody told you to say. That's what somebody told you to think. You have not had an independent thought. When I hear people saying stuff like that, I'm not going to shrink for you. I'm so sorry. I'm going to feel even more. I'm going to lean further into feeling and further into sensitivities and further into being myself. And I used to do the opposite. Let me make them comfortable, but it hurt me. I'm no longer willing to do that. If you cannot see me and love me and value me for who I really am, I don't need to be around you. I don't need to shrink. I don't need to pretend that something doesn't hurt when it does. Why would someone who loves me want me to do that? Why would someone who loves me want me to swallow my pain for them? To silence myself for them? That's not love. That is not love. That is fear. That is indoctrination. That is patriarchy. That is capitalism. We really got to interrogate all this stuff. All of this stuff is connected. All of it is connected. The reason why you're not connected to your emotions or your feelings is because they don't want you to be. Because it benefits them for you not to be. It allows them to get wealthier. It allows them to become even more powerful, using air quotes powerful. And I mean powerful in the way of like destroying things, right? It allows them to do that because no one is willing to cry. No one is willing to cry out. No one is willing to resist because we're all afraid, social conditioning, we're all afraid of being attacked by our peers. Negro, I'm trying to save you and you sitting over here looking at me like I'm crazy because I'm feeling. You angry too. I'm trying to save you too. You don't get to silence me or my emotions. That's not kind, that's not love, and I would never do that to you. I would affirm your feelings. I would tell you what you feel is not crazy. That is an appropriate response. An appropriate response to someone hating you, right? An appropriate response to someone actively hurting you and harming you and passing laws against you and your body. Being angry is a valid and reasonable and honestly expected response. A lot of the stuff that they're doing in the White House is to make us angry. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not saying that you have to be animated by everything because you don't. I'm the reason why I'm not upset about I'm upset about the actions they're taking. I'm not upset about them not liking Black people. Who cares? I don't like y'all either, right? The issue is that Black people are being harmed. That's my issue. I couldn't care less. I could not care less about what white men think about Black women. I do not care. I see what y'all create. I do not care. I do not care to meet your standard. Y'all standards are trash, right? But it's about you having the audacity to try to harm me and my loved ones. Now that makes me angry. That gets me upset. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so feel your feelings. That is resistance. Feel the rage that your ancestors could not feel. Process that pain. You know, talk to a friend. Journal, do a voice note. Whatever it is, it don't have to be, nobody else has to hear it or understand it, right? But you understand you. You get you. If you just want to put on a voice recorder and just cry, if you just want to go in the closet and not record it at all and just cry, that's also okay. That's also okay. Put on a sad movie, right? Listen, sometimes you need a good cry. Put on a sad movie and cry. Shut the windows. Have a pity party. I know a lot of people, oh, don't have a pity party. Pity parties are necessary. You need to mourn. How will you move through things, grow through things, learn lessons from things if you never grieve? How? It's okay to have a pity party. You are not weak for feeling pain. I hate that. Like, oh, perpetual victim. You just want to be a victim. Nobody wants to be a victim, honey. Nobody. People, and if we're talking about people who are, in power, and I'm using, air quotes, people in the office or whatever, those people are not victims. Those people are not victims. Stop it. Stop. That's why that irritates us so much, right? Because they're not victims. They're pretending to be victims. But we know actual victims. We know actual people who need actual help. Those aren't them. So even when you're quick to call someone, oh, you're just a perpetual victim, maybe they really are victimized. And maybe you feel shame about that because white people have convinced you that you should not feel like a victim because feeling like a victim means you're a loser. And maybe you need to interrogate why that is. Why they have so much to say about you feeling like a victim. Even if you do, I don't think that there's anything wrong with feeling like you're a victim, especially if you were victimized. Duh. People who are victimized need to feel like a victim so they can be seen, held, appropriately tended to, right? Cared for. When you reach out and say, ouch, people are supposed, in a perfect world, people would surround you with the help that you need. But because we know that people are selfish, we don't say nothing. Because we know that the response to a lot of our harm is going to be, well, it's hard for everybody. Get over it, right? We keep ourselves, we keep our pain locked inside. And so when people have the audacity to ask for help, it offends us. Because what do you mean you're asking for help? I never asked for help. Yeah, Susie, that's a problem. That's a problem. And you're mad about that because something inside of you knows that you should have the right to ask for help too. And that person asking for help is not taking anything away from you. They're showing you that you can be brave just like them. Okay, I think my thoughts are complete for this point. But yeah, it's hard being a sensitive girl in a cold world, okay? Because you just see that everyone who is pretending to be big and bad and like unbothered, they're really just small children who are afraid, who put on this big, it looks like, it's almost like, it reminds me of children who put on suits that are too big. They play dress up in mommy and daddy's clothes and or whoever's clothes, right? They put on the jewelry or whatever, and it's funny, like it's who they think, like they're putting on the clothes and walking around like mommy and daddy because that's what they think mommy and daddy are as grown-ups. Like this is what grown-ups do. Like, oh, we have serious things, we're serious, um, right? But every time people pretend to not feel, it is because they are afraid. And I can see right through that fear. You're not going to shame me because you're afraid, and I'm not. And the thing is, let me not even say that. I am afraid. I'm afraid of y'all. Y'all be mean as hell. I am afraid. People are cruel. I am afraid, and I'm willing to be brave. Being brave has nothing to do with not feeling fear, right? In order to be brave, you have to feel the fear in the first place. It takes bravery to feel your feelings. And I'm a brave person. Like one thing I've learned about me, okay? I am very brave. And I'm not going to put away that bravery because it makes you feel bad. Because I want you to be brave too. I want you to step up and be brave with me. And the more of us that are brave, the more of us get saved. You feel me? The more of us do our work, the more of us take up space. We are so afraid of being seen as needy and weak and wanting because the plantation made us feel that way. You don't get to need or want. You don't get to feel pain or else you get thrown away, right? We have to realize we are free, y'all. We are free, and we have to free ourselves and other people. But more than that, right? Like, I know that my ancestors, my elders taught me to hold my emotions close to my chest because it's not a safe world out there for us, right? But I also imagine that in a perfect world, my ancestors and elders would have loved to express how they felt. In a perfect world, right? Like they would love to have done that. And I feel like a part of my ancestral work in this moment, right? In this time of my life is feeling and processing and venting and using my emotions and seeing them and befriending them in a way that my ancestors could not before, you know? And so I just want to open that invitation to you. Maybe you come from a family that are very rigid and hard, and but deep inside you know they're sensitive, right? Because a lot of times the reason why people are so rigid and hard is because they are so sensitive and they don't want anyone to see that they're sensitive. So they put miles of armor between you and them. But when you get to the heart of it, there's this nougat that wants to be protected. They want to protect that part, right? Because no one has told them that part is beautiful. They're afraid of letting that part be seen. So some of that stuff, some of that like response that is projection. Some of that like rejection is projection from them. You weak, you weak. That's how they talk to themselves. That's what they feel about themselves. That makes me sad. That makes me sad. When people are in my comment section trying to insult me by calling me emotional. Okay, yeah, I'm emotional. I'm a human. Hello? Are we okay? Any other animals are emotional, right? Birds have whole funerals for their fallen brethren. Like, are we all right? The animals mourn their mates when they die. Yeah, I'm emotional. And that's a part of what makes me beautiful. But a point that I really want to drive home is that this constant criticizing you for feeling or being sensitive is to convince you that you aren't worthy of feeling that, or that you are crazy for feeling that, or you are wrong for feeling that, right? If I make you feel like you're crazy for being angry that I'm mistreating you, you start to believe that this is normal, right? That this is what's natural. This is how life is supposed to be. If I get mad at you because you're trying to protect yourself, or you're asking why no one is protecting you, right? Then you start to normalize and believe that you don't deserve protection. You start to believe that you're not allowed to be protected, you're not allowed to protect yourself, and that people are having a correct response because socialization, right? Because everybody's on the same page. When everyone has that response to you wanting to protect yourself or wanting you to be protected, you start to believe that you're unworthy of protection, right? That your suffering is normal, that your suffering is what's needed, that it's somehow holy. You suffering in silence is holy. You swallowing your rage and your pain is holy, especially if you're talking about from a Christian context, right? Like the more you suffer, the more long suffering you are, the more holy you are. The more you take stuff on the chin and don't respond, the more holy you are. And that's not how that really works. And as somebody who was surrounded by people who were telling her that she was basically crazy for being angry that people were mistreating her, I started to internalize and believe that I was not worthy of protection. Shout out to Vitamin and Confidence with Love. Vitamin put on a summit. That's the word. Sorry, I couldn't think of the word. She put on a summit, and Confidence taught about self protection, like protecting yourself, right? And one of the first things she said, she was talking about the tools that we can use to protect ourselves. But she was like, you first have to understand and believe that you are worthy of protection. And that is so true. Because again, being surrounded by even family that have treated me like I'm not worthy of protection, right? It does something to you. It breaks you down. When you realize that when you're in trouble and no one's coming, when you realize that, you're being harmed even by family and no one's going to save you, that does something to you. If your own family will harm you and not protect you, what does that mean, right? That you're not worthy of protection, that you're not valuable, that you're not important, that you're not precious. What else? That you're not something worth defending. It starts to wear on like your self-worth and your self-value. Like, wow, like I'm really nothing. I'm really nothing. If my own family treats me like trash and my other family members won't protect me against that family member, then what does that teach me except that I have no worth or value? That's what that teaches you. And that's what they want you to believe, that you're not worthy of protection because you have no worth or value. Coming from the Christian faith, that's kind of what you're taught, that you are nothing, that you have no worth or value inherently, right? You are worthy because someone died for you, right? Like, as opposed to you having worth and value inherently, right? And how everything that has worth and value deserves to be protected and treated well. And when you are not treated well, you are taught that you have no inherent value, that you are inherently worthless. And so I really want to drive that point home, that when you are not protected, when your cries are not answered, when your ouches are not taken seriously, it really does harm you. Because for a long time I hated myself because people hated me in their actions. I didn't find myself worthy. I found myself disgusting and despicable because of how people treated me, but also their response to my ouch, as if to say, oh, Alicia, your job is to be used, is to be harmed, is to be abused, is to be, is to be the bigger person, using air quotes. Doesn't matter if the person is putting hands on you, cussing you out, intimidating you, doesn't matter. You're supposed to take it. And if you don't take it, you're not a good black woman. So in their mind, a good black woman is a woman who takes abuse, who swallows pain, who doesn't say ouch. A good black woman, you will hear even black men talk about this romantically. I don't like black women because they don't let me get away with stuff. Or she didn't suffer long enough for me. Or I love my mom because she suffered. Y'all are weird. It really is buying into this idea that black women are here to suffer, that they really are here to make everyone's life better except her own, that she cannot love herself, she cannot hold herself sacred and important, she cannot be kind to herself, right? And she can't defend herself, and she can't say no, and she can't say ouch. And then we're leaning into, again, teaching black women that they are property, or they are tools, right? They are something to be used, they are machines. All of this stuff is linked together, all this stuff. So when they're denying your sensitivity, it's because they're trying to convince you that you ain't nothing. And if you think that you're not nothing, you won't say ouch. You won't stand up for yourself. You won't defend the defenseless. You won't call out evil when you see it, because you don't even think that you're worthy of goodness, because you haven't suffered long for it. Does that make, I hope that makes sense. But I really want to drive that home. Okay, now I think I'm finished. And if something else comes up, I'll share it later. But you are everything good. Your emotions are good. Your sensitivities are good. They're so important. Even physically, your sensitivities. I can't eat certain things because it doesn't work well with my body. Those sensitivities are saving me. In the same way, your emotions save you from people who don't love you. It saves you from people who want to abuse you, people who want to harm you and your loved ones. Lean into your sensitivities. They are your friends. Okay, later.